Deep in the ocean lurks a beast said to prey on sharks, whales, and virtually anything that crosses its path. It was 3 times larger than the great white shark. Of course, we're talking about the ultimate superpredator, the Megalodon. Scientists claim it went extinct 3.5 million years ago, but not everyone is convinced. With that in mind, here are Megalodon sightings that suggest it might still exist today. Number 10. Baby Megalodon in Australia. You know what's more dangerous than a Megalodon? A Megalodon's family. These mammals are not lone wolves, and they prefer to stick together, live together, and even eat together. When the TV famous marine biologist Colin Drake was shooting for Discovery Channel's Shark Week, he hit a career-making jackpot. His newest exploration site was Australia, where the government had issued a legal order to kill the predatory animals in the sea due to the high death toll of divers and swimmers alike. Drake's preferred method of taking raw footage for his documentary was a shark cage, so the predators couldn't make contact with the crew. One of the fortunate divers was Martin Isaac, who witnessed a shark lurking around that wasn't supposed to be there. The intruder was bigger than the sharks in the area, so both Martin and Colin were convinced that they were finally witnessing a great white shark with some skin conditions because it didn't resemble the great white. But the size was convincing enough until the shark took a swirl in the water and Colin noticed the weird pointy feature on its fin. Again, the great white does not have any points on their fin, but you know who does? The mighty Megalodon. The crew would be in shock. Had they made a groundbreaking discovery without even intending for it, it was quite possible. A closer look at the footage would reveal that the shark didn't have any skin condition whatsoever, but there were bumps on its structure, and that was another striking feature that it shared with the superpredator. Now, the shark itself was not as huge as an adult-sized Meg, but its bodily features fit the description. It seemed as though Colin's team was witnessing a baby Megalodon that loved to swim in warm waters. And even though they're strong and can fend for themselves, their mother, Meg, doesn't abandon their baby. By all means, a full-size Megalodon was nearby. It just didn't cause any scenes because its baby was quick to leave the premises and perhaps swim to its sanctuary. Number 9. The New England sightings. Here's the thing. You may not be inclined to buy into random accounts of the Megalodon sightings, but when it comes directly from the credible Shark Institute, it's only fair to reconsider your next diving adventure. Most experts believe that the superpredators have been extinct for 3 million years now. But what the Atlantic Shark Institute saw on their sonar changes everything we know about the ever-enigmatic marine life. The researchers of the institute were caught off guard when their sonar showed a starking image of a shark that didn't register quite easily. After all, the sea creature was about 50 feet tall and weighed about 40 tons. Does that ring a bell? Well, if you like to tune into the Discovery Channel here and there, you'd likely know that historically the Megalodons were also 50 feet tall and had teeth that were 7 inches long, making them the most dangerous predator under the sea. Atlantic's Fish Finder is located off the coast of New England, and the team has developed the habit of witnessing something bizarre here and there, but the distinct head-to-tail and the dorsal fin silhouette of the mysterious sea creature was as incredible as terrifying. While the sightings of the Meg have been debated more than the moon landing, more and more evidence keeps piling up, and most of it seems to debunk that the sea predators are now extinct. Not to mention, the Atlantic shark researchers weren't the only ones witnessing something earth-shattering in New England. A year earlier, a viral video of the larger-than-life shark had broken the internet as many experts found themselves at the loss of words for what they were witnessing. The shark was huge and it left people scared and gawking. Interestingly, the sonar that detected the Atlantic shark is not far off from the sighting ground either. Is it possible that researchers and bystanders had witnessed the same superpredator lurking around? It's not unlikely at all. Not to mention, witnesses and researchers alike are convinced that the Megalodon is back. Number 8. The Google Maps sighting. Well, we can't realistically reach every nook and corner of the Earth, but Google Maps have eyes everywhere. Turns out the app isn't just only useful when you can't navigate the city you've lived in for years. It's also out there debunking the claims of experts when it churns up some rare sightings of the Megalodon. And let's just say the shark experts who believed in the predator's extinction got defeated by the app. The still imaging navigation system of Google Maps allows us to travel the Earth. And that's when the satellite system caught the faint but noticeable silhouette of a sea creature that fits the description of a shark. But not just any shark. You see, the silhouette is huge and normal sharks as well as the white sharks don't normally pop onto the satellite images of the ocean. The abnormally large size of the sea creature that seems to beat all records can mean one thing and one thing only. Google Maps might have caught the most realistic satellite image of the Megalodon. Now, we can't see the superpredator's 7-inch teeth, but it's the size of the beast that has left everyone flabbergasted. Google satellites are miles and miles away from the Earth, and they're only sensitive to catching on to large creatures that are visible from such gigantic distances. There's a reason why the Great Wall of China is visible from outer space, and your measly apartment building isn't. Trust us when we say that the shark experts tested out all the theories on the silhouette, almost as if they didn't want to believe that they are witnessing the allegedly extinct Megalodon. First assumption was that perhaps it's a whale shark lurking around the waters in the Bahamas. That theory quickly went down the water because the silhouette doesn't resemble the whale shark at all. And by the size of it, it's not some average Joe shark either. The size of the Google Map shark is 58.7 feet. And wait till you hear the size of its fin. Only the fin of the Megalodon is around 5.3 feet. Yep, even those stretches in the gym couldn't help you beat the size of a shark's fin. But hey, let's give credit where it's due. You don't take the moniker of a super predator by being average. So, don't know about you guys, but next time we're in the Bahamas, we'll think twice before taking a dip in the ocean. Number 7. The Mariana Trench sighting. If we had to take a bet on the possible habitat of the Megalodon, we would put all of our money on the Mariana Trench. Because the deepest spot in the ocean is the perfect hiding spot for the deadly sharks that want to snack on whales. And as much as we'd like to keep them deep into the trench, the super predators cannot help but to make their appearance crystal clear on camera. In a video that challenged everything we know about these creatures, we can see a huge predator lurking around the shark cage. And let's just say it closely resembled the infamous shark that is allegedly extinct. The divers reported feeling the water shift violently as the massive shadow circled the cage, dwarfing the smaller sharks that scattered in its wake. Its silhouette alone suggested a length far beyond that of any recorded great white, igniting whispers that the Meg itself had surfaced. The footage showed a massive dorsal fin cutting through the water like a blade, sending shockwaves of fear and excitement across the scientific community. Some marine experts argued the sheer girth and power of the animal's movements could not possibly belong to any known living species. Others speculated that the shark cage bars bent slightly as the creature brushed past, a terrifying reminder of its brute strength. The crew aboard the expedition vessel described the encounter as surreal, with the ocean falling eerily silent before the beast appeared. Local fishermen later came forward, claiming they too had seen massive shadows beneath their boats in the same waters. Rumors spread quickly online, and soon the debate raged globally. Was this truly evidence of the Megalodon's survival? With only seconds of footage and no confirmed biological samples, the encounter remains one of the most hotly contested sightings in recent history. The expedition in the pits of the Mariana Trench was specifically designed to explore the secrets of the deepest part of the ocean, mainly because it'll make the perfect hiding spot for the Megalodons. And it makes perfect sense. If there was a vlog on the day in the life of the Meg, it would go like this: eat, sleep, repeat. And that's about it. The scientific research on the super predators tell us that after they snack on large sea creatures like whales, they don't look around in their hunting grounds for long. They're more likely to go back into the deepest realms of the ocean, which seems to be their permanent home. And their location couldn't be better than the Mariana Trench. The video shows the shark making its way into the trench like it's nobody's business. Shark experts believe that the Megalodons can survive in any climate due to their colossal size, but it's the equator where they thrive in warm temperatures. So, did we witness a Megalodon yet again? It seems to be the case. Now it's time for today's topic. A deep-sea research mission off the coast of Australia took a chilling turn when a submersible's cameras captured footage of a massive shark unlike anything experts had ever seen. The dive, meant to study hydrothermal vents and unusual marine life, was proceeding normally until the sub's floodlights illuminated a shadow moving in the distance. Seconds later, a colossal shark came into full view, its gaping jaws filled with rows of jagged, blood-stained teeth. At first glance, the creature bore resemblance to a great white, but the proportions were all wrong. Its head was broader, its body bulkier, and its sheer size dwarfed anything on record. Marine experts who later analyzed the footage quickly dismissed the idea that it was an oversized great white, noting key differences in its body structure. The speculation grew louder. Was this evidence that a Megalodon, thought extinct for over 2 million years, still roams the oceans? The submersible crew, clearly unnerved, cut the dive short and returned to the surface with hours of high-definition footage. While skeptics argue the shark might be a distorted perspective or an unknown deep-sea species, others believe this could be the most compelling proof yet that the legendary Megalodon still exists in Earth's oceans. Number 6. The missing case of a great white shark. In November of 2003, a team of shark researchers joined hands to make robust discoveries on the lives of sea predators in southwest Australia. They wanted to study their seasonal change and behavior up close, and they decided to embark on the life of a 9-foot-tall female great white shark. After the shark was tagged, researchers began to learn a big deal about the sea temperatures, how it affects the animals living beneath, and more. Everything was going smoothly up until about 4 months later when the tag stopped sending signals. The last collected data showed that the female shark had taken a sudden dive of 2,000 feet into the ocean when the spike in temperature went from 46 to 78 degrees. This was highly unusual, as white sharks rarely plummet so suddenly to such crushing depths unless in pursuit of prey or under threat. The rapid escalation in internal tag temperature suggested not just ingestion, but a predator with an enormous stomach capacity. Some scientists speculated a giant squid could be responsible, but the temperature data quickly ruled that out. Others pointed fingers at orcas, but orcas usually attack from the surface, tearing their prey apart, not swallowing them whole. The team replayed the data again and again, stunned by the fact that this shark, once an apex predator, had itself become prey. Rumors began circulating among the scientific community, fueling debates about whether an unknown predator lurked in those waters. Local fishermen soon chimed in, sharing tales of enormous shadows trailing their boats at night, larger than any whale they had ever seen. These testimonies, combined with the scientific evidence, painted a terrifying picture of what might be swimming just out of sight. The thought that something far larger than a great white could be hunting in modern oceans sent shockwaves through the research community. Later on, the tag was seen on the shore 2.5 miles away from where the shark had first been tagged. Scientists were baffled. The only thing they knew was that their shark had been eaten alive, or more appropriately, been gulped down in mere seconds. That made matters worse because it's not easy to eat a 9-foot-tall shark, let alone prey upon it. The spike in temperature was 32 degrees, which meant that whoever had eaten the shark, it had a warm and hot stomach. Yet, the internal temperature was not hot enough for an orca or even a cannibal whale, and it was certainly too hot for a white shark. That left only one theory. What type of sea predator could eat a fellow shark and has a massive size for hot internal temperatures like 78 degrees? The answer was clear as day, but even the researchers were too frightened to even consider the possibility. All fingers and research pointed towards a haunting discovery. Their shark must have been eaten by the Megalodon, the superpredator, and the rest was history. Number 5. The Pacific Ocean sighting. An oil extraction company stumbled upon something so historically groundbreaking that it would have altered the way we measure the dangers in the sea, and they didn't pay much heed to it because they're witnessing fins and sharks deep under the Pacific Ocean. That's pretty much textbook. The company was looking to install an oil platform on the Pacific seabed. Under the ocean, a series of specialized robots were sent, and there's only one way to oversee their progress: through HD cameras. Of course, call it a mere coincidence or a miracle, but the engineers in the company were not expecting to witness this at all. The appearance of the mysterious sea creature happened in the blink of an eye, and yet, it's not that easy to miss. People don't exactly get to see the Megalodon in action. The footage showed the water around the robotic probe suddenly clouding with turbulence, as if a massive force had disturbed the otherwise still depths. A shadow passed overhead, blotting out the lights of the robot for several seconds, leaving engineers on the surface in stunned silence. Then, out of the murky gloom, a single massive fin cut through the water like a skyscraper-sized blade. For a moment, the engineers thought they were witnessing a submarine, but the organic shape and movement quickly shattered that idea. Panic rippled through the control room as they realized the sheer scale of the creature compared to the robotic arm beside it, dwarfed like a toy. The shark's movement was calm, deliberate, as if it knew it ruled these depths without challenge. Some engineers claimed they saw the faint outline of its massive body trailing behind, a shadow so large it stretched across the camera frame. The data feed crackled and glitched under the immense electromagnetic disturbance, forcing technicians to scramble to salvage every second of video. What remained was undeniable proof of something colossal moving through the deep, something far beyond the size of any known shark. The whirlwind of the shark would have destroyed the entire installation. What we see is the fin of the shark that was luckily caught by one of the cameras attached to the robot. And that's incredible because that isn't just any fin. The size of the fin is as tall as 10 feet, and that's almost twice the size of 2 average human beings. Just this detail about the mystery creature tells us that it's not as mysterious as we think. Normal sharks or whale sharks don't have fins as large as this beast. So when the engineers took expert opinions on their shocking yet accidental discovery, they were left astounded. It all comes down to the process of elimination. The only theory that could describe the size of the fin defies all odds. It's possible that we witnessed the existence of the dynamic megalodons that were said to be extinct. Even though the shark makes a brief appearance, the size of its fin is quite irrefutable. Not to mention the location of the discovery is quite apt as well. The installation was being worked upon in the deepest pits of the Pacific Ocean, and that's exactly where the Meg would also be lurking. So, as far as believable theories go, we're convinced that we just stumbled upon the superpredator Megalodon. Number 4. The Brazilian sighting. A rescue mission could have gone south if a mysterious gigantic sea creature would have decided to take a little snack time off the coast of Brazil. The waters were highly turbulent and rough when the Coast Guards got a call for distress. Since the stormy weather was dangerous for a waterborne rescue mission, the authorities sent a helicopter as well as a rescue boat and a swimmer. Sure, such swimmers are trained to even beat the roughest of waters out there, but to walk by a predatory sea animal, a slim chance. The mission was successfully underway, and the guards were a split second away from making the final safety run in the waters when the ocean began to boil. That meant only one thing. Other than the harsh waters, there's another threat that was looming around, and it might not be as forgiving as the ocean itself. The cameras installed on the chopper recorded something spectacular. A rescue mission was being conducted right next to the hunting ground of a shark that they had never seen in their extensive marine training. Under the deep waters, a shark at least 65 feet tall would be lurking around, and the size of it was enough for anyone to conclude that the rescuers in Brazil were in the Megalodon's den. The footage was so groundbreaking that even the Discovery Channel featured it in its prime documentary on sharks. All things considered, the Brazilian sighting of the Meg is the magnum opus of the contesting yet popular claim. The Megalodon isn't extinct, and as there aren't any active human exploration missions that can mess up their habitat, it's unlikely that they're going anywhere. That made ocean exploration even more of a dangerous pursuit. What's really terrifying about this footage is that the Meg swims right next to the stranded boat in the ocean and the rescuer swimmer. And the fact that the shark almost hit the surface of the ocean is even more frightening. Chances are that the stranded man in the sea was bleeding, or worse, he was stuck in the shark's den. Either way, the megalodons are overly protective of their home. And when they smell blood, they can't say no to a little bit of snack time. That time perhaps the shark decided to let bygones be bygones and did not attack the boat or the humans that were surrounding it. But not everyone would be as lucky as the Brazilian rescuers' mission. Talk about saving a life and shaking the foundations of marine research. Number 3. Mexico's Black Demon. Mexico has its very own fish story. And beware, it's just not another myth from the sea to scare the fishermen. If you ever visit the Gulf of California, the locals will tell you about the El Demonio Negro, or the Black Demon that lurks within the waters between the Baja Peninsula and Sonora. It's a tale that's as old as the sea itself. And from generation to generation, children learn about the sea monsters that can gulp entire whales if they so choose. At a glance, it's easy to dismiss the story as being a legend, but its historical grounds date back to the voyages of British sea merchant John Hawkins, who was absolutely derailed when he witnessed a demonic sea creature. After all, even after his extensive voyages, he had never seen a shark as big and fins this tall. Sailors who later sailed the same waters claimed to have seen monstrous black fins slicing through the waves at dusk, often vanishing before anyone could get a closer look. Fishermen whispered that boats had been overturned without warning, nets torn to shreds as though ripped apart by something far more powerful than a whale. Some even spoke of nights when the ocean fell silent, not a single fish biting, as if everything had fled from the shadow of the Black Demon. In the 1970s, a group of divers reportedly surfaced pale and shaken, describing an immense shadow that circled them before disappearing into the abyss. Their accounts aligned perfectly with the old tales, further fueling speculation that something extraordinary was prowling these waters. Marine biologists later tried to investigate, but their equipment allegedly malfunctioned whenever they ventured into the so-called demon's territory. Locals took this as proof that the creature didn't just exist, but actively resisted discovery. The legend only grew stronger with each unexplained sighting and every story of massive, dark fins rising where no known shark should be. It's hard to recount what Hawkins had really witnessed around Mexico, but skip a few centuries into 2018 and down the line where Eric Mark witnessed something equally horrifying. He had heard the stories of dangerous sharks that lurk in the Sea of Cortez, and so far there have been many historical sightings of sharks that are not very typical in their behavior or color. What Eric saw was quite similar to everything the local fishermen had said about the Black Demon. They're erratic, taller than 50 feet, and destroy everything and everyone that comes in their way. Now, Eric is an experienced fisherman, so when he saw the beast underwater, he knew that he was looking at a megalodon. While the contesting evidence has always called the black demons just black whale sharks, nothing explains the brutality of everything fishermen describe. Whale sharks are friendlier than many, and they can't gulp down the entire school bus if they want to. Plus, their biggest size goes up to 49 feet, and they are not black for sure. Eric seemed to confirm the legend of the Gulf of California. Under the sea does live a beast, and we call it the Megalodon. Number 2. The Megalodon Tooth. In the quest of finding the truth about the Megalodon, just don't wait for the shark to appear itself. That'll take a lot of time, and you can't exactly outrun the predator that can gulp down an entire whale in 5 bites, right? The most fascinating part of the Meg's autonomy is its teeth. That'll put any saw chain to shame. They're about 7 inches tall, and even the small nibble of those teeth can cause some deadly damage. They can easily penetrate into a whale's skin, and well, if the Meg is eager enough, it'll cut off the tail in mere seconds. And if you find broken teeth as sharp and as big as we've described, there's a huge possibility that you've stumbled upon the Megalodon's hunting grounds. Something very similar happened to HMS Challenger, a former decommissioned British warship that was turned into an oceanographic mission. The Challenger's biggest duty was to embark on a new age of sea exploration. And boy, did it do its job. When sailors hauled up the dredging nets, they expected nothing more than mud, shells, and maybe some strange fish. Instead, what gleamed under the sunlight were two enormous teeth, their serrated edges sharper than anything they had ever seen. Crew members stared in disbelief, some whispering legends of sea monsters they had only heard in tavern tales. Scientists aboard quickly realized that these weren't ordinary shark teeth. They dwarfed anything belonging to a great white. Excitement mixed with unease rippled through the ship, as the possibility dawned that something thought long gone might still roam the oceans. The Challenger had unwittingly handed the world its first modern clue that the Megalodon might not be entirely a creature of the past. The year was 1875, and the ship was busy dredging a seabed near Tahiti when it pulled up a pair of teeth that left everyone in shock and awe. Perhaps it was more of the latter. The dredging mission had not dug in too deep, so to encounter a set of teeth meant that the sea creature was not exactly as prehistoric as it may seem, and perhaps the creature is still around. A series of tests were run on that set of teeth, and the preliminary results would show that the HMS Challenger might have hit the gold mine. Those weren't just any shark teeth. They actually belonged to the dangerous, lethal, and predatory Megalodon that was believed to be extinct. The tests also showed that carbon dating on the teeth went back to 10,000 to 15,000 years. And that could mean only one thing. Megalodons are not a thing from our distant past. Not too long ago, they were swimming around off the coast of Tahiti. And as species from prehistoric times still lurk in the ocean, what makes us think that Megalodons won't? Plus, the carbon dating is a far cry from the timeline when the Megs went extinct almost 2.5 to 3.5 million years ago. So, the map is quite simple now, isn't it? Number 1. The 1918 sighting. It's fitting that we begin recounting the Megalodon sightings with a blast from the past. One of the most popular and hard to refute sightings of the cannibal shark comes from 1918. Since there was no widespread use of cameras, there's no footage. But what ichthyologist David Stead recounts in his posthumous 1963 book speaks volumes louder than any picture. In the book Sharks and Rays of Australian Seas, the author recounts the horrifying experience of crayfish fishermen in Port Stephens. For the local fishermen, it was a typical day at the Broughton Islands when they saw a huge boiling in the sea. Now, they were used to whales emerging in the seas there, but what they had saw that day was not very common. The surface of the water churned violently as if a storm were brewing from below, and several boats rocked so fiercely that the men feared capsizing. Nets that had been carefully laid vanished in seconds, ripped away as though caught by a force of nature itself. Some fishermen swore they could see the immense shadow gliding beneath their boats, dwarfing even the largest whale they had ever encountered. A few of the bravest leaned over the edges of their vessels, describing the terrifying pallor of the beast's skin, like something that had never felt the sun. Whispers spread quickly through the crews that this was no ordinary shark. It was something ancient, something that should not still exist. The dread in their voices lingered long after the encounter, a collective fear that united hardened men of the sea in silent acknowledgement of the impossible. When their pots of crayfish were gulped down in mere seconds, the men in the sea were convinced that what they were witnessing was a beast underwater. Since the fishermen were in the deep waters, there was no escape. And that's when they saw a ghostly white shark that was 115 to 130 feet long lurking in the water around their fishing grounds. The fishermen recount that the proportions of the sea creature was enough to send shivers up and down their spine. And by the looks of it, the mysterious shark took its sweet time around the crayfish pots, its appetite so big and ravenous that it might have wiped up everything down the water. In the book, David mentioned that the fishermen had also seen the head of the shark, something super monumental in the visual and anecdotal evidence of the Megalodon we have today. As far as the accounts go, only the mouthpiece of the beast was at least as long as the roof on the wharf shed at Nelson Bay. That sounds absolutely terrifying. Even though these fishermen were masters of their game, what they saw haunted them for weeks. They refused to go back to fishing and their businesses plummeted. And this is why David was inclined to believe their story. These seamen knew everything that swims around the oceans from white sharks to whales. Yet what they witnessed was something out of the ordinary, and it resembled everything that they knew about the great Megalodon. That's when everything changed for them. Perhaps the shark isn't as extinct as they thought. Did you enjoy this video? Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.